Welcome back to the ETF Inspector. It's Tuesday, September 23rd, just after 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Markets are closed, and this is our daily recap video for our 4 Roundhill funds. They're all weekly paying income funds. The first 3 are 0DTE covered call strategies on the indexes, QDTE for the NASDAQ 100, XDTE for the S&P 500, and RDTE for the Russell 2000. The last is a Bitcoin covered call strategy ETF, YBTC. A reminder, I'm on X at ETF_Inspector1, posting all things related to these ETFs and the videos that I put out. And today, the repost coming from Roundhill that YBTC declared. So we're going to look at that distribution. And people have been asking about ETH. So we'll just go ahead and 39.1631 cents per share if you have YETH. That is the Ether covered call strategy. I don't know if that's short for Ethereum or if it's just supposed to be Ether. But and I also posted Granite Shares coming out with their version of a Palantir yield boost fund, PLYY. All right, let's take a look at the market. It was down for the most part on lots of things. So when we look at these in particular, NDX for the NASDAQ 100 was down 0.73%. The Roundhill fund QDTE outperformed it, only going down 0.64%. SPX for the S&P 500 was down 0.48%. XDTE pretty much matched it, down 0.47%. The Russell 2000 was down it just adjusted, 0.1%, and RDTE was actually in the positive, so that was able to outperform. And then YBTC is based off of IBIT. IBIT was down 0.38%. YBTC was actually down even worse, 0.42%. Now let's look at our trades. If I can find it. There we go. We'll start with QDTE. They sold 385 calls on the NDX, expiring today with a strike price of $24,810, collecting $16.22 per share premium, or $624,000. When we take a look at NDX, it closed 24,580, so that is well below the 24,810 strike price. Maybe they sold real nice and high after getting burnt by almost over $90 yesterday. So that didn't cost anything to settle out. They got to keep the full $624,000. All right, we take a look at the holdings. People sold out of the fund yesterday. About 80,000 shares dropped off of the outstanding share count, bringing it down to 26,410,000. That started our NAV off today at $35.97. It then went down today with the share price closing at $35.77 or thereabouts. Excel does take a little while to finish updating. We're showing $35.76 on that finance app. There's almost $950 million in assets under management. Tomorrow is declaration day, the 24th. My guesstimate is about 20.5 cents. There have been no changes in the holdings since yesterday, as far as these deep in the money calls or leaps that they use to then sell covered calls off of. And then down here, I never really talk about it, but we've got some money in government obligation funds, about $48.5 million. They've got money in a weekly T-bill ETF, so that is a Roundhill fund. It does actually pay out. I think it pays out like 4% a year, but they always like to hold some of their extra money in their own fund. That does allow them to collect an extra fee, so, but whatever. And then cash and others actually in the negative. That fluctuates on a daily basis, money coming in, money going out. Next, we have XDTE. They sold 618 calls on the SPX with a strike price of $67.10, collecting $3.58 per share premium, or $221,000. SPX closed at 66.57, well below that 67.10, so it doesn't cost anything to close out. They get to keep the full $221,000. There was no changes in shares, still 9,355,000, approximately 415, almost $416 million in assets under management. And the NAV at the start of the day was 44.47. The share price dropped today as the S&P dropped. Tomorrow is declaration day. Guesstimate over here is 21.1 cents. Don't know if you can hear my dog. He likes to hang out next to me when I'm making videos and walk around and jump around and shake. But what do we got? Only $190,000 sitting in government funds here. 26 plus million in their weekly T-bill ETF and 11 million in cash. All right, then we go to RDTE on their trades. They sold 639 calls on the RUT with a strike of $24.90, collecting $2.18 per share premium, or $139,000. RUT closed at 24.56. It still keeps on adjusting here, but either way, 24.56 is well below that 24.90. Doesn't cost anything to settle out. They got to keep the full $139,000. So this is still, we don't even need to worry about these prices up here. They keep on adjusting, but either way, we know it's not going up to that 24.90, so that's the only key number that mattered. There's 4.6 million outstanding shares. 33.85 was the NAV when things started today. It is odd. 33.84 is what it says it closed at, but that's actually an increase. So you're kind of getting it for a penny discount. $156 million in assets under management. No changes in their deep in the money calls. They didn't buy or sell any more of them. Looking at almost $3 million in government funds, almost $12 million in their weekly T-bill ETF, and negative $250,000 in cash. Estimate for tomorrow's declaration is 22.8 cents per share. Last one was 22.6, so not too far off. And then YBTC. Probably should have started with this one since this is their announcement day. Makes them a little more exciting than the others. But they came out, like we showed on that repost from Roundhill, 41.0006 cents per share. We've got that in there. My guesstimate was 42.5. The last payment was 39.5. So my guesstimate was off by about 3.6%. So not too far off, not bad, if I say so myself. They have not been super consistent. If we take a look at the most recent distributions, so this one came in at 41. My guess was 42-ish. But previous was 39, 38, 46, 49, 48, 34. So they've kind of been bouncing around. So I'm not upset with missing by 3%. All right, so today was their declaration day. Tomorrow, Wednesday, is their X day, and Thursday is their pay day. Synthetic was worth almost a negative 14 million at the start of the day. Unfortunately, IBIT dropped, so that number is going to go deeper into the negative once we download the information. None of this is live here, other than the percentage in or out of the money. Same thing with the calls that are sold. It's looking like they got a pretty good chance of winning these calls, as they're almost 5% out of the money now, with a strike price of 66.55 expiring this Friday the 26th. They've got $320 million in their United States Treasury bill. It is kind of odd that they actually buy Treasury bills and don't put the money in their own T-bill ETF. Then they've got their First American government funds, 1.6 million, and cash, 18, almost $19 million. All right, that's did I say it? 7,260,000 outstanding shares, $326 million in assets under management, and the NAV at the start of the day was 44.91 before the decrease of about 1/3%. Is kind of, yeah. So as it updates, that ends up coming up a little bit. All right, and then let's see. I think YETH, they trade at 27.35. So for them to have an announced a payout, what would we say, 39 cents? 39 cents. That's a significantly higher percentage compared to that 41-cent payout on YBTC, which is a $44 company. So YETH paying out a much higher percentage. All right, that's all I have for you. Thanks for watching. Keep an eye out for tomorrow's post on 0 DTE trades, and I'll catch you in the next video. Thank you. Good night.